What a lovely evening. It's nice with the cicadas.
Yeah, it is. It feels summery.
Everyone knows that food is cool. No secret. Eat that food with a bowl and spoon. Everyone knows that food is cool. No secret. Eat that food with a bowl and spoon.
Hello, welcome to With Bowl and Spoon. NaTisha, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm NaTisha Washington. I am the communications manager for Breathe Project, an environmental justice advocate, and soon to be councilwoman for Wilkinsburg.
Woo!
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So you're going to be sworn in?
Sworn in January.
In January?
Yeah.
Cool.
So November, there's an election, but I'm uncontested. And then January, I'll be in those seats, but I am watching the meetings currently just to stay up to date.
Yep. So are we in Wilkinsburg right now?
Mm-hmm.
We're at Biddle's Escape.
Yeah,
that makes sense why you wanted to meet here. That's perfect.
It's my ward, of course.
Excellent.
Yeah, this is Ward 3 of Wilkinsburg, and it goes like towards Regent Square and towards Homewood. So I have that portion of Wilkinsburg that will be my representing area.
Nice. Lots of businesses in this district. Is it one of the more businessy districts or wards? Sorry.
I would say Ward 2 more because they have the Penn Avenue and the Wood Street.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But we have like all the small, cute businesses.
Yes, the little quaint places.
Yeah.
So, NaTisha, we know each other because you worked for Operation Better Block, and I admired you greatly with the work that you did there. You ran the Junior Green Corps, and that was awesome. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I was in Homewood working as a Green Initiative Coordinator for Operation Better Block, and my main priority was managing the Junior Green Corps, which is a job readiness program for teenagers 14 to 18 years old. We taught them how to do vacant lot restoration, gardening, tree planting, soil testing. We got to teach them a lot of stuff about the environment on top of like community advocacy. We did a lot of surveying. The kids got to invest into community events like the Red Up, which we do twice a year. And I really just got to enjoy not only like teaching my students, but also teaching the community, because we will also have meetings where I have to explain to people why we're doing a lot of this environmental stuff. And then when it came to like vacant lots, I would always get complaints over the phone and have to figure out how to deal with it. And that was the second part of my job, is there's this issue with this community space. How do we fix it? And I will say, and I always tell people, my favorite project was Miss Z's Rosedale Rain Garden. That's on the corner of Rosedale and Rosedale and Hill. That's my favorite project, and mainly because I get to drive past it all the time because I live right there, but also because of how many people got involved to make it what it is now, and it looks so beautiful. And I do see people in there when it's all cleared out. It's, just trying to keep it clean is the harder part, but we do have a lot of volunteers that come, and Ms. Z is right down the street and always checking on it. So great project.
Yeah. And a thing that I really appreciated about your kids is you were such a mentor for them, and you got them really excited about getting engaged in things. And that one Chatham event that I saw you at, they were presenting their work, and they were so proud, and they were so amazing.
That's actually one of my favorite stories too, because it was a crazy day actually, because trying to get kids to be on time to anything is already hard, and trying to get them to get up early to be on time for something is harder.
It helps when you're paying them though.
It does help. And when you're getting them out of school.
Oh, that's huge.
It was a school day, so they were like, I don't gotta go to school, I just come here. And I was like, yeah. So originally we got there a little late, but we got in there. They got to see like the presentations. We unfortunately forgot that we had to do like one of those like bifold presentation boards.
Oh yeah.
So the kids got there and they were like, we don't have one. I was like, it's okay, we're still going to do well. So they were already kind of like, we're not on
they
par.
didn't feel prepared.
Yeah. And then me and Chris, we both split up because we had 2 different groups doing presentations. And we were just like encouraging them, like, you know, just talk about what you do. Like, what you do is already amazing. And I will say that after that event, when they were getting to like the awards, Hannah, one of the students, she was like, Miss NaTisha, can we just leave? Because we're not going to win anything anyway. And as soon as she said that, like 5 seconds later, they gave like the first award to the Junior Green Corps, and it was the first place award, and it was for their presentation. Yeah, they loved it. They bragged about it for months.
I hope they did. That was amazing.
Yeah.
It was so great. And you could just tell how much they loved what they were doing.
Yes, they did.
They didn't need the award.
No.
They really enjoyed it. But that must have made them like even more like, wow, I like something and other people like that I like something. That's magical.
And it made them feel like they were actually doing something beneficial, because like when they're doing work in the community, there's not a lot of like, you know, thank yous for what you're doing. Like, we do get compliments from residents, but a lot of times we get a lot more damage and trash. So it's kind of like for them, they would get discouraged during the year and be like, well, what are we doing this for anyway? And so winning that,
those damn kids don't appreciate it. That's a total, that's a switch.
And they did that for the younger kids at Phase On when they did the Tioga Play Yard and it got messed up. They were just like, oh my goodness, these kids. But that award was like, oh wow, people actually like what we do, and we actually did something important. And then they got a nice little party out of it. So
yeah, that was phenomenal. I really appreciated that. So how did you end up at Junior Green Corps?
So I originally, my first nonprofit job was with Jamil Bay.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Didn't I meet you over on the north side?
Hilltop. And we might have been on the north side, but
I thought we met at like a coffee shop on the north side.
We might have.
You and NaTisha and Jamil and I. Naomi, sorry.
Yeah, NaTisha did apply. I don't remember. Oh, she did work for Jamil at a period of time.
Sorry.
Yeah, we did. We were on the north side, but our office was in the Hilltop area where like Jamil lives in that area. Yeah. So before he had Urban Kind, he had Pittsburgh Works, and that's where we were working.
Right.
Yeah, and we were doing like different programming. And I think this is when Learn and Earn started to become a thing, and people didn't really understand the process. And we did a youth program for like middle school students, and I was supposed to be doing the farm design for the Hilltop space that was near the park. But, you know, things didn't pan out the way we wanted to.
Oh, the place like near, I know what you're talking about. Jamil wanted to put goats along the side.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Along the hill. Yeah.
So I was supposed to be designing that space, and we were still waiting on things. So me and Naomi were helping with the youth program, and I did like a tree walk with them, like stuff I did in college, like tree walk. This is how you plant things, like different projects, because Jamar also wanted to do a lot of green projects. And then I was like, oh, I enjoyed doing that. But, you know, the program ended. I didn't know another program to get into at the time. And after not working for a little bit, I reached out to my Fred Brown at the Homewood Children's Village, because they had an opening, and I was like, oh, I want to work for this position. He was like, I have a better job for you. And so he sent me the Green Initiative Coordinator job for OBB. And after I interviewed with Jerome, I was like, I like this place, I want to be here. And after I started, I was a little overwhelmed. But once I got like my footing, I was just like, oh, this is nice. But it was like me and the kids were learning at the same time and growing up at the same time. And
how old were you when you took that job?
Oh, how old was I? I want to say 23, 24.
And the kids were like 15, 16, or did they have to be 16 to participate?
Because I was replacing the old leader that was there, who was really attached to the kids, only like 4 or 5 stayed.
Gotcha.
So
that happens.
It happens a lot. It happened when I left too, so I understand it. Like, it's just like it's a thing of like
transition.
Comfortability. Yeah. So I wasn't upset about it. I was just like, I need to start somewhere. I had 2 freshmen. I had 1 sophomore, and I believe 1 junior at the time. Yeah, he was a junior or senior at the time. And the ones that I had, only 2 of them didn't make it the whole time. But Monet, who was one of them, she actually went on to do the Trade Institute program, which I'm really happy. She's apparently doing very well there too. And
that's so great.
Devon, same thing. And he was with me since the beginning. Davon, Malik, and then the junior boy, he didn't stay very long. Yeah, I was a young adult and they were teenagers, and I was like, we're going to figure this out. I was very transparent with them since the beginning. I was like, we're all going to figure this out together. We're going to make mistakes, but we're going to have fun doing it. And we did.
Yeah, you ran a really great program.
Thank you.
And it's still there today.
Yes,
under new leadership.
Oh,
but that's great. Yeah.
Leadership that's been there before, thankfully. So the kids are already familiar, and they're already familiar with the program. So it's in good hands. And I will say Haley, she did really great while she was there as well, and got us some secure funding, which was nice.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, from DHS. Yeah, and DHS loves funding us, which is great.
That's huge, yeah. So you mentioned that in college you did tree walks and different things.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out like how your interest in growing and agriculture and all of that started. Yeah. Have you been growing since you were a kid, or?
Kind of. Okay. So I did grow up in a house with my mom. My older brother was like 13 years older than me, so like sometimes he lived with us, sometimes he didn't. But it was mostly me and my mom. My mom likes to have a green thumb, but she doesn't know how to keep anything alive. Oh no. She knows this about herself.
So she has a wishful green thumb that's actually not so green.
Yeah, that's my mother. So I was the green thumb that made sure that things still grew. So I was the person that was cutting the lawn and was mulching the beds.
You go and replant stuff after it died.
Yeah, that was my job. Yeah. And she would just go out and buy the plants. That was her job. So
I was thinking it was more like the parent that keeps replacing the hedgehog that dies or the hamster that dies.
Yeah, I should have did it that way. Should have snuck it in. But, as a teenager, I had no transportation. So if I did, I would have done that for sure. But yeah, that's my mother. And she's still a wishful grower. And she has my nieces who want to grow too. But I didn't originally want to do like the landscaping portion. I originally wanted to do architecture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had a science teacher that went to Penn State that was one of my favorite teachers, if not my favorite teacher. And he went to school for architecture at Penn State. So I was like, I want to fix up all these vacant houses and abandoned buildings around here, because my goal was just to improve my community overall. Yeah. And then I went to college and I took physics classes and I failed them. And I was like, this is not the thing for me.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I need to choose something else. So I went looking for different majors. Unfortunately, my guidance counselors at the time didn't really help me out that much, but my college boyfriend at the time did, and found originally landscape architecture, but then he also found landscape contracting design. So landscape architecture, I went into it, but then I was just like, I don't really learn anything about the plans. I just kind of learned the design and like how pretty they are and the names of them and all that stuff, but I don't really learn like no business stuff that much. And so when I went to landscape contracting design and I started my first year, like we learned about estimating and bidding, we learned about surveying, we learned about weed ID, grass ID, like trees, shrubs, perennials. Like we learned all the ins and outs of the business of landscaping. And I was like, after my first semester, I'm staying here. I was like, this is my major. But I was only one of 4 girls and one of like 4 black people in the school. But
this was Penn State main campus?
Yeah. And it was like, I want to say 5% or 8% black people that were there. So I was a big minority in that school. but I loved every minute of it because I learned a lot about the environment and what a healthy environment could look like, because state colleges, so many trees, they have their own like arboretum, like they're agriculture school from like foundation, so they have all this like greenhouses, hoop houses, like you get to learn all the experiences of agriculture. And it kind of felt like, I don't know if you watched The Bear. I
haven't. No, we don't
so
have. Is it on
good.
Hulu? We don't end up having
It's
that.
so good. It's a good series, but it like shows like how high proficiency schools prepare you, even if you have to work in like quote unquote low proficiency spaces, because Penn State is like one of those weeding out schools, and they make the curriculum hard for a reason. And so you learn way more than like the general education of it. So I got to learn like how sewer systems work. I got to learn like what it means to dig up like utility lines and all of that stuff, that then when I got into the real world, I was like, oh, I can solve these environmental issues. But because they're so vast, people are like, oh, how do you know like all these different things? But in landscape contracting, you have to know all those different things. So I'm glad I majored in that. And I'm glad that I got to experience a space that was like clean, because when we get to like clean air discussions, it reminds me of when I went to school and I would be sick for like 2-3 days because my body would have to get reused to the air out there.
Oh wow! You mean when you come home to Pittsburgh?
Same back and forth, like,
and then you go back there, and
if I'm
your body
staying there
was
for a long
detoxing,
time,
and so the adjustment would.
My sinuses would be all messed up. My eyes would be itchy. Like, it was very uncomfortable, and I knew as soon as I went back and forth that it would change. And the worst one was like during the holidays, like during weather inversions in like November, because when I'm in State College, like fresh snow, it cleans a lot of the pollution that they even do have out there. But when you come back here, it's not the same thing. It's actually trapping a lot of pollution. And so I just was like, that's a very weird experience that I didn't know I was having because of pollution until I learned about pollution.
Yeah, and until you went away and detoxed your body for a minute, and then came back and were like, whoa.
Yeah, what is this? What is my nose doing? Yeah.
And you chose to come back.
Yes, I did, because one thing I learn a lot that I find here, well, I find everywhere really, is you can't really help your community from far away. Like you can make money, come back, and there's a lot of people that choose to do that path, but with the urgency of how things are moving, like you can't really be effective if you're like 5 states away.
Yeah.
So I got an opportunity, thanks to my professors, to move back to Pittsburgh, because I was originally in Florida. So I moved to Florida. That business failed, unfortunately, and my professor was like, well, Eichenlaub up here in like the Fox Chapel area, they had an opening for like their seasonal crew. And I was like, that could at least get me through till I find something else. I did want to stay there, but that's a whole nother conversation of how that work environment is for women, especially. So I was like, I'm not doing landscaping anymore. And then I found myself in nonprofit spaces more often. And I was like, I'm going to stay here, see how it works out, see if I can make some change here. And it's just been working out for me.
That's great. I'm really glad that you decided to stay in Pittsburgh and
it's a duty
to see it
thing.
out, because I'm proud to know you. I mean, just all the things that you've done. So you were doing some wellness stuff and some
self-care.
I want to say social media, but it's more like, was it TikTok or
I was doing
Reels
some videos around
videos?
it too.
Yeah.
I started these self-care Mondays. I started them, I want to say, a little before or a little after I got out of my last relationship, which was a really bad one. And that, I think, was the thing. Like, I've been working since I was like 13 years old, and I probably, like my mother, work to kind of like fill in all that extra time of like dealing with traumatic things or emotional things in my life. So I would just bury it in work and became a workaholic, like many people I know. But then it started with, and I don't want to ruin her name. Can't remember it, and I'm mad that I'm blanking on it. But there was an activist. There was a woman that was a big activist here. She went to DC to do a protest, and she collapsed on her way there from a heart attack and passed away. And ever since then, I've been very cautious about like how much I give of myself to advocacy. And when I got into like full advocacy, when I was with 412 Justice, I was just seeing people like getting unhealthier and unhealthier, because like the movement requires you to be so present that people would like put their health to the side, be like, but I got to show up for this, I got to be here, I got to do this. And I went to Black Women's Policy Agenda. I went to their seminar, and this was like, I think their first one that they did. And the first section of it was about self-care, like just how we do self-care, how we're dealing with ourselves, how we feel being advocates and activists. And it made me realize I didn't really do like self-care. I used to, but I wasn't doing it anymore, because I always prioritized me getting work done, me getting tasks done, and being here and going to this event. So I was like, how do I do self-care with the schedule that I have and the lifestyle that I have? Because I have 3 jobs, I have a campaign to do, like it's a lot of work. So I was like, all right, let me trial it out. So I was like, every Monday I gotta commit to doing this, and posting it was like my commitment, because that shows that I actually did it. It's proof that I actually did it. I have to show people, they have to remind me, some do. And I'm just like, all right, I'm going to start this out. And as I kept doing it, I kept getting more messages from people about like how helpful it was, how nice this message is, how they started doing a self-care thing. And then I went to this conversation with Repair the World and Raynice, who's also a farmer up in the Hilltop area. And she told me about one of my posts that had her stop and think, man, I haven't like really cried in a while, because that was one of my biggest posts. I showed a video of me crying, not for like a sympathy thing, but just to let a lot of women, especially Black women, know that it's okay to cry. It's okay to have bad days. It's okay to be sad. Like it's okay to just like let go and be emotional, because in, you know, our environment, especially Black women in Pittsburgh, like there's not a lot of space to just be sad and emotional and just like let yourself just be down, because you always have to be present, you always have to help, you always have to be there for like family, for children, work, whatever have you. And I was just like, it's okay, like we're human still, like we can cry and it's okay. It doesn't mean you're weak, it doesn't mean something's wrong with you, it doesn't mean you're not handling your business, but it just means that you're taking a moment for yourself to feel that emotion. And it just kept growing from there, to the point that people are like, well, when are you going to come back and do it? And I'm like, I will do it soon. But I had to now figure out, well, now that I've tried all these self-care things, what does that actually look like for me? Because everybody's self-care is different. Everybody likes different things. Yeah. And my schedule is getting even busier. So I found that there's like these little things I can do throughout the day to self-care. And I want to show people those things just so that they know work is not an excuse. Priorities are not an excuse. Like one of my self-cares when I have to like deal with my nieces is like, you know, if I pick up my nieces and I'm having to drive, like that's time we get to sit and listen to music. I get to hear about their day. We can play a question game. I can talk about like, they love anime, which is great. So we could talk about anime, and that recharge socially. It helps so much when you have to deplete yourself in this organizing world. And that's what I found during my vacation was I have this social battery and I have a personal battery in myself where I'm like, once I get depleted, I have to fill it with something, whether it's interactions with my loved ones, whether it's like listening to music, watching a show, like even like cleaning up my desk space so that I'm not so cluttered. Like these are self-care things, not just getting your nails done and going to a fancy restaurant. Even just like thrift shopping with friends has been like a big self-care boost for me.
It's funny that you mentioned the cleaning your desk.
Yeah.
Because that is very energizing.
Mm-hmm.
like when you sort all the crap, like I'm looking at my trash here sitting on the table now. I need to like tidy that up, because that is it. And I think energizing is a kind of weird way to put it, but it is like you get back to work and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. My brain is decluttered.
Yeah, it seems that way. That's really interesting. So what is your channel? Do you have a...
So I mainly put it on my personal social medias, which is just my name, NaTisha C. Washington. I plan to transition it over to my consulting platform, which is Washington Green Solutions, because over there, on top of like the self-care stuff that I do, I want to highlight all the stuff that's here in the community. Because what I used to do these main highlights of like Black businesses, local businesses that people could go to. But there's also like resources that people don't know about. Like LIWAP came and went, and I was so disheartened by that.
What was that?
LIWAP, it was the Low Income Housing Water and Sewage Program. It's like LIHEAP, but for your water and sewage bill. And it came and went within a month. And LIWAP.
WAP.
Low Income Housing, WAP.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
water assistance program. There we go.
Yeah, you know what? That is, being in agriculture and food.
Yeah.
I've thought a lot about water.
Is an issue. Yeah.
Water is, and nobody's talking about it. PWSA doesn't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about rain barrels. But I really have no actual valid reason to pursue that line of questioning with them right now.
Did you see
somebody's got to be talking about it.
Did you see the radioactive water that they just poured out from Japan and Fukushima?
Yay!
How did, I don't understand these decisions.
How did they put it into our water? Yeah. Well, we already have the microplastics. And
yeah. There's an island bigger than Texas, apparently, of just plastics.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's that. I'm surprised that I can't see it on, I look at Google Maps all the time. I'm like, where are you? I got to be able to see you.
Yeah.
It's Texas.
Exactly. It has to be somewhere.
Maybe Google Maps was blotted it out, because we would freak the frick out.
Oh, yeah.
That would be...
And there's a shortage.
We should. Oh, my God. Okay. So anyway, how are we going to save the world?
Collaboration.
Wait, there's a shortage of what? Sorry.
No, there's a shortage of water. For sure, especially in the United States, that people aren't talking about, and it's getting worse. And you see it in Mississippi, Alabama, but it's going to make its way up here too. But I would say all the conversations I've been having as an organizer, which I think this is year 10 for me. Yeah, just so nice to say that I've been doing organizing for a decade. Because I used to be a newbie and just be I've been in this for a couple of years, and everybody's I've been in this for 30 years. Now you're a vet. Yeah, now I'm a vet. Nice. So as a new vet, I found that collaboration.
Are you middle-aged in your career?
Yeah. I'm getting out of young adult, and now I'm just an adult now.
You're just plain adulting.
Just plain adulting. But it's been a lot of talking to people. That has been most of my work, is just talking and listening. More listening than talking, but a lot of talking. And I think with that, I found that people don't talk to each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't understand that. And I'm just y'all all are trying to achieve the same goal. Why are y'all not talking to each other? And then there's the whole too many chiefs, not enough Indians, and everybody wants to lead instead of playing their own role in this collaboration. And even in current collaborations that I participate in, people are so caught up on these minute details about what's going on instead of the overall goal, because people feel things should personally go the way that they want it to go. And it's just once we stop that and have actual collaboration where people are actually working together, people are fulfilling their own roles, not stepping over anybody's toes, and learning how to take direction from each other, using each other's strengths, I think we'll be better off. But what tends to happen a lot of times is people get into these collaborations, and then there's this, like, what are they called, the cardinal sins come in place, and then people's egos, their pride, their greed gets in the way of saving the whole community, which for me, that's why I like the whole, like, just showing face and not doing enough work is an issue for me, because it's kind of just like people chose you to help them get out of this situation as a community, to represent the whole community, not just yourself and your ideals and thoughts. Yeah. And sometimes people, because they're in these leadership positions, start to think that my way is the best way, and I know it's best because I'm in these meetings and because I talk to these people and because the people voted me in. But it's really, you're supposed to be taking direction from the people that got you there.
Well, I think there's oftentimes there's a situation where the person who's the leader is also the leader and the doer. Like, I think leaders should be delegating. Yeah. And you should have a team. You can't do it all yourself. No. And if you can't delegate, that's a problem, and because one person can't do it.
We have a lot of that.
So, yeah, that's what I saw. So it's unfortunate. I don't know how to help in those situations. Yeah. But I mean, I used to have a position where I could actually potentially help, but now I can't. So I don't know why I'm talking about this.
But it's an accountability thing. And I think, like, the best that we can do as people who partner and ally with people that are trying to do this work is trying to hold them accountable regardless of, like, their own personal feelings. Because when you go into, like, a traumatic environment of people who have been, like, you know, messed over multiple times, have been lied to, manipulated, all of those things, you try to be as neutral and as nice with the conversation as possible. But at the same time, I find there's a lot of people that let their niceness over counter accountability, where it's like, well, I don't want to hurt this person's feelings, so I'm not going to say it straight out to them. And it's, for me, a lot of times I try to, well, now more than before, I just kind of bite the bullet on that of, like, you need to be accountable too, because one of the things I find in my community is a lot of people, they want to hold other people accountable, but then when it comes to their own actions, then it's just like, oh, well, I have the reason to because of what I've been through. And it's just like, everybody here has been through something, and in a past situation where we were, you know, more manipulated, like, that works. But in this situation currently, where we have, like, positions of more influence, more power, more resources as well, like, there's not much excuse to not have something actionable happen. And when you're not doing something actionable, be like, oh, well, it didn't pan out because people are like this, or because I didn't have enough money. And it's just like, no, sometimes it's people that are involved. Sometimes it's not thinking about your audience, which I have an issue with all the time, because I work with a lot of intellectual PhD, MD people that are well-intentioned and they want to help people. But I'm just like, your audience is different than what you think it is. You're thinking, like, I'm talking to, like, my students or some college students, and you're talking to community members, which people forget, like, most of America is illiterate. And then we have a lot of our low-income communities that have a literacy issue. And you're talking to them like they just graduated out of college. And I'm just like, that's not going to be helpful in what you're asking of them. Because you're like, here's all this data. Do with it what you will. We want you to do action, but we want you to do it in this particular way. Versus, like, how can we help you with our resources make action happen? Which is a different conversation than just, here's some info, do this work for us.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that was one of the biggest dilemmas that we were having with the ambassador group, is trying to figure out what do we present them with. Like, and some people thought we should give them the PhD in food systems and food insecurity and teach the community members all the things. Yeah. And then be like, what's the solution? What do you think we should do? Yeah. And then other people wanted to, like, present different solutions and then be like, what do you think would work in your community? Yeah. So there were a couple different ways of thought about it, and I think it just didn't, the Food Justice Fund idea came around and
Yeah.
sort of bogarted the whole thing. But yeah, I mean, it's a really interesting situation to be in that place of, you know, you don't want to not do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
But you have to make sure that you can do what you say you're going to do.
Exactly. That's true.
Because the community has already had enough disappointment.
Yeah, and I will say that I think a lot of people forget that these communities used to be thriving. Like, these weren't communities that never were thriving and never had these systems in place. And I love going to like my grandmother's house to really get grounded in that, because my grandmother, she grew up in Homewood, moved to DC for a while, came back, lived in Penn Hills with her family. Well, lived in Homewood, then in Penn Hills. But she remembers when she was younger and Homewood had everything that you needed. She would say this all the time. We had everything but a man's like matching suit. That was the only thing you had to go outside of the community for. And her mom had like a backyard where she used to can tomatoes. Like, she used to grow her own stuff. My grandmother doesn't know how to can tomatoes, but
Oh, wow.
but her mother did. And
Yeah.
she remembers like those things. And even when I talk to people in Homewood that are older, they all remember like my grandmother having like these growing spaces, having the fruit trees on the street, having the stores and black businesses and local businesses that were there. Like, it used to be like that. And it's more of a thing of how do we get back to that versus like how do we create something new, because the new creations that I see don't really match the community. And the only way that we even halfway got there was with that comprehensive plan. But then that didn't even pan out well because not enough community members came out to it. It didn't get finalized. There was all the issues with the consultants and all of that. But it was eye-opening hearing the community talk about what they wanted to see the future of their community be. And they know, because they're very tight-knit. Like Homewood, like they all know each other. They know what they want. Like, their business association still meets with each other and talks about how they can support each other. Like, it's more of the proper resources is what I'm finding now in my current position. Is there's not a lot of proper resources for these communities, and the ones that are out there are more federally beneficial than community beneficial. And I feel like there needs to be a shift in power that is intentional, where community members feel like the people who have the power and resources are supporting them and not the other way around. Because we had a recent conversation where I really understood as an organizer, feeling that, you know, I'm just here showing up, speaking up for this issue, and nothing's happening, and I'm not getting what I need from my community, and yet you want me to keep showing up. And now that I'm in an organization that has more power and more resources, and I see it from another side, I'm just like, oh, okay, this is how we can better help. But we have to take a backseat role in this. Like, we can't drive this. We have to be like, you need some gas money, you need me to grab some stacks, like, here's some direction. Like, but we can't drive it, because once we drive it, then it comes back to that power issue that we have currently.
Yep. That's a great analogy. I love it.
Oh, community
Got snacks.
Conversations are inspirational.
So, talk more about you mentioned the federally beneficial. What does that mean?
So we're currently in this issue with the fine money of U.S. Steel. So U.S. Steel pollutes the Mon Valley a lot, and they get fined for it every time they pollute it. And they changed it now. I think it's like 60% or 60 or 70%. It used to be like 90%. So
it's so regular. It's just part of their operations. It's part of their budget.
Yeah. Well, the money that they have, 60% of it goes to a community benefit trust, and 40% of it goes to a clean air fund that we've been hearing about forever. None of the community benefit trust money has gone to air pollution programming or support. And VCAN has been doing air filter programs for I don't know how long. They've asked to get money to have the program because they have a waiting list, and they don't have enough money to support that waiting list. And they're like, hey, we need these funds for this. But what we found looking into like their budget of the money is that most of that money has been just spent on government needs. It's like we didn't have enough money in the budget to pay for this, so we're going to use this money to pay for that, like garbage trucks, security cameras, renovations to recreation centers. Like, the only one that we know the community approved was the Clariton Recreation Building needed updates. Only one that we were like, yeah, that sounds good, do that. But everything else, it was just like, why are we not helping them when they have bad air days? Because now when we have the wildfires and we have purple air days, nothing's there to protect them. And we have kids going outside doing football practice and damaging their lungs unknowingly or knowingly. And we can't even get like a billboard that says, hey, it's a bad air day, which we've also been asking for years. So it's like, where's the community benefit in the stuff that you're spending versus like what the community actually asks you for? And as I read like public comments of like different like meetings, like city meetings, county meetings, EPA meetings, like I hear what people are asking for, and what's coming out of it doesn't match up to that. And I'm like, people are literally telling you, and I don't know why people think that just because they're an organization that they're not representing a larger number of people. But I'm like, just because there's like 1 or 5 people here doesn't mean that the whole community doesn't want this too. It's just they have jobs and they can't be here on a 3 p.m. meeting that you decided to have randomly. So it's kind of just like we're always fighting for money. Yeah, it is frustrating. I'm always frustrated with them. And then they have commercials on my Hulu that shows that they're spending money to help, and it's not helping.
Oh, you start yelling at your TV.
All the time.
Liars.
My favorite is Alka-San with the talking fish. I don't know if you've seen those commercials.
No.
Alka-San has a talking fish commercial that talks about how great their future tunnel plan is. The gray infrastructure tunnel that we keep asking them not to build. And they have the fish being like, oh, they have this great plan coming out that will help improve the stormwater overflow of our water, even though everybody has told them it's not going to work. It will fill capacity before you know it, and it's not going to help you drain anything.
Oh, is that the plan where they're using data that's not current enough?
Yeah, I think so.
Like they're building it to like 2007 levels?
Yeah.
And we've already surpassed that? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm familiar with that.
And yet they have a commercial saying they're doing swell.
Well,
we do have a new opening for the health director that Fitzgerald says he's not going to fill. So, you know, knock on wood, our incoming executive will pick somebody that we need, because the health department, if that can get improved, that can help a lot of the stuff that we're dealing with now, because they're just, I don't know what's going on there.
Well, we've had really good people heading up the health department, and their hands have been tied.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because of leadership or because of politics in some other form, or if it's because of capitalism.
The department doesn't work well with each other is what we're finding. They don't really communicate with each other. They're under-resourced. Their staff isn't supported. Like, I've talked to a lot of people that work there, and they're just like, we try, but we can only do so much, and we try to communicate with other people, and it doesn't really work out. And I'm just like, but this is our county, like, department. Y'all have to work.
Yeah, I know. I mean, during pandemic, I was hearing about, like, I kept saying, like, the school and the county and the city should be coordinating food stuff, and I was never able to be part of those conversations. But when I finally did talk to someone who was Lindsay, who was part of those conversations, she's like, they hate us.
Yeah.
They hate us. And we talk every morning, but they don't tell me anything.
Yeah.
And they don't ask, they don't want anything from us. And it's just this formal call that is then over. And then the day, we get on with our day. Like, there was no actual cooperation. There was a lot of anger and resentment and weirdness. And so that was weird. It makes no
sense, because they have the resources and partnership to do a lot. Like, especially when it comes to food, like the soil testing is something that we've been asking for a lot, because one, when we saw the East Palestine disaster and we saw like how it was getting into the soils, and they started testing over there which one of our partners is the Beaver Marcellus Community Advocacy Group that's over there, BCMAC. They're great. They do the Eyes on Shell. They've been watching the Shell plant in Beaver County, but they started doing a lot of soil testing over there because how heavily the pollution was then coming down into the soil. And then I was like, oh yeah, we should start doing that. And I know Melanie, who, you know, wants to do more in like food growing, and there's a lot of people that want to grow in Clairton. They were like, well, we got to test the soil first. And, you know, we've done that in Homewood for a long time. So I was like, yeah, we should do that. And I don't know if you know, but Haley, who was at OBB, is now with the Conservation District. And I'm like, yeah, we need to start doing that because people, you know, even if they did want to grow, which they do, we can't safely say that they can do that because they're right next to U.S. Steel. And we don't know what's in that soil, nor do we know how to protect it during the day and during the midnight hours when they're just pumping it. So that's one of those issues that I don't think they think about a lot, especially when we talk about like a sustainable future. We're like, oh yeah, let's grow our own food, and, you know, let's do these green spaces where kids can be so like outside. And there's benzene in the air, so that's even worse. Well,
the kids could be outside when there's not benzene in the air, when there's not a purple air alert day. That 2 days a year where kids can actually be outside.
Oh
my goodness.
And some of them get so upset that they can't do sports and stuff like that because of it. And I'm just like, you talk about reasons for kids to be angry nowadays. Like, I hear about like all the youth violence, but my response is always the same. Like, what are y'all giving youth to do? Like, there's literally nothing for them to do, and the stuff they do can be unsafe for them.
UPMC should build one of their sports complex, that indoor sports complex they have on the south side. They should build one of those in Clairton.
They should do a lot of stuff. Them and Allegheny Health Network. I found out.
I wish I had a picture of your face.
Because we have our Southwest PA town halls. And we have a petition against UPMC and the Allegheny Health Network on, like, why aren't you supporting us in this? Like, you know, just like we know that this is killing people. Like, y'all have the data numbers to say that. And we've heard residents tell us that their doctors will say to them, the only other thing you could do is move. I've had people that I called on the phone where this guy told me I had to move because it was killing my child. Literally, his child didn't have no issue prior to them moving there. And then they moved to Clairton. Then his child had all this respiratory issues, and their doctor was just like, you got moved. So that's what he did. And I was just like, that shouldn't be a thing.
No.
And they have cancer screening vans, and I don't know why they're not in Clairton, because Clairton is our highest cancer risk area. Apparently,
they're just like, y'all got it.
Y'all okay?
We're not going to
3-4 times higher than the national. That's not too bad. Like, that should be a crisis.
Yeah, absolutely, I naively thought that health insurance companies, because they're forking over all the money for people's wellness and people's, you know, diabetes and heart disease and obesity and all of that and all those interventions. I thought, well, they're going to have a vested interest when I did my food studies program, and they're going to want the food to take the food system to task and say, stop putting on all these additives. I started meeting with some folks from UPMC and some doctors. Dr. Parkinson, I don't know if you've ever met him, but he was really cool. I think he retired by now, but actually I met him right after I graduated. So 2012, I met him, and he was just like, you might be like 6 years too early, he said. And so I was like, okay. And then like 6 years later, we still knew each other. And I said, well,
that's nice.
How about now? And he's like, it's really, that wasn't where they were going. They were like, they had learned to, you know, just work with it. And I think, you know, they like sick people. I don't know. I hate to say that,
somebody did say something like that.
Fucking capitalism, man.
I've heard that before in those conversations too. And I want to say, I can't remember who exactly said it, but yeah, people were like, I have to wonder if they just enjoy making money off of people who are getting sick, and that's why they're not healing anybody, because it costs money to be sick, and they get all this money from these people. And my issue with that a lot of times is, you know, there's a counter to that they can do that I don't see them do, which is provide resources through that insurance as well. Like, it's nice to make money off of your insurance to keep whatever your business needs afloat or whatever your practice needs afloat, but it should be dishonorable, especially against your HIPAA laws, that you have to further make somebody sick instead of making them healthier. And there's money in making people healthy too. Like, there's a program, I forget if it was in I forget which state they said this was in, but their health insurance covers air filters. So people get free air filters through their health insurance. And that's something that a lot of people could do. Like, they could have like dietary programs through their health insurance and have that paid off. For their asthma situations, they could get filters and monitors. Like, there's all types of resources that they can add on to health insurance to make it actually beneficial, besides here's some medicine that can help you with this situation. Where, like, a lot of people, they want help with eating better, they want help with exercising, they want to make their diabetes and cholesterol manageable, but they don't have resources. And then when you say I remember at one time my mom was paying like $200 for her health insurance by herself outside of her job, and I was just like, you got to pay out of pocket for that, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But also, like, there wasn't much benefit that I was seeing outside of her getting medicine. My mom got diagnosed with lupus, and I haven't, like, her doctor will say, like, you have to eat better, you can't eat these certain things, and she knows the things that she can't eat. And same with my grandmother had to start dialysis 3 times a week. And even her diet has to change now too. Like, she loves potatoes and she can't eat a lot of them, so that has been the hardest part.
That's a bummer. I love potatoes too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she can only eat like a small amount, but I'm just like, it would be nice if with that, like, they would give her like farmer market vouchers for like a CSA box, maybe, because she's older, she can't get out. If they had like a CSA program of healthy food, like, she would put her money into that. She would probably pay like a copay for that if they had it. But there's nothing like that. It's just, here's this medicine, and then on top of that medicine, there's like, especially as a senior on fixed income, you gotta pay for all your expenses, and then you gotta figure, oh, well, can I drop this expense to pay for my medicine? And then it's like, well, then what help is any of this?
Yeah, it's terrible. I'm not an actuary, but I'm pretty sure they got the numbers figured out to where, you know, they don't need us to be healthy.
I don't understand
for them to
why.
make money. Well, everybody has to have insurance, right? So it's a thing.
But they don't even give their own workers health insurance, and that baffles me.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant, right? As a capitalist, you could appreciate it.
Yeah.
But, capitalism is not great.
Car insurance is just as bad, if not worse, that I found in our city.
Well, car insurance is an optional thing, right? Health insurance is not an option. No, I mean, you don't have a car, you don't have car insurance, but health insurance is like, everybody might have need for a doctor, so it hits a lot closer, and I think it's
more personal.
And it is very personal. I mean, you lose your car, you lose a thing, but like, you're talking about people's lives, and that's just, it's terrible. It's really outrageous. I find it.
I only think it's different here because, well, one, our infrastructure is so bad road-wise that it's like, I really should get a discount because I have to pay for tires and brakes and alignment.
That's true.
But also, like, our city's not as walkable as it should be as well. And it makes everything more inconvenient. I was thinking about the different places that I lived around the city, where, like, I lived in Swissville, I lived in Edgewood, I lived in East Liberty. Like, I lived in a couple different areas, and I will say that when I was in East Liberty, everything was convenient and walkable, and I didn't need a car for anything. And even having a car was slightly inconvenient, especially if I went to like New York City, where you just shouldn't have a car at all. But then I moved here, and there are some places I can walk to, but if I actually need something like groceries and laundry, where there were situations where, like, we couldn't have our laundry for a while. We had a flood in my apartment, and just trying to get back and forth to get main necessities done, I was just like, why can't I just like, and I've been to New York many times, I love visiting there. I'm like, why can't I just do like them, get my cart, walk around the corner, do my laundry? And I do have a laundromat around my corner, but when you're talking about like low income communities, they just up the charge in mines, where like I only pay like $150 in my apartment, but you gotta pay like $325 at the laundromat. And so it's just like, you gotta get there, then you gotta make sure that you're done by 8 p.m. Most people get off at 6 p.m. So it's just like, not even having transportation is such an inconvenience. And then Port Authority or PRT, whatever they want to call themselves, are the worst neighbors ever, and they just don't listen to anybody.
We definitely have our issues, and you're definitely
I'm still here to
activist. Yeah, fighting the good fight at all angles. I honestly did not expect this conversation to go in some of the directions it has, but this has been lovely. This is great. So since this is a food podcast, is there anything else around food or like your food evolution that you want to talk about?
Yes.
Okay.
Food should be a priority for our engagement. I say that in many ways. I think my first food conversation to my most recent one kind of tells the tale of my first food conversation. It was at the Everyday Cafe when we were doing those food story surveys, and I was just starting at OBB, and I was sitting at a table with like 3 other people, and we were talking about stories that related to our connection with food. And that's when I really started to learn how to learn from other community members, because when we were sitting there, like something as simple as like, you know, oh, does your grandma have a sweet potato pie recipe? Mine does. What does she put in hers? Oh, she puts hers with some pineapple. She put hers with a little bit of whipped cream. And it's just like, you know, culturally it's a really nice thing to have, but it opens up a lot more comfortable conversation, and it shows people where we're all the same, because the table did not all look the same. We had all different types of lifestyles, some young, some older, and we could connect based off like how Thanksgiving was for our families or what traditions we do. And then when we get to meetings, I'm a big food person. So like whenever I get to the event, I'm like, where's the food? Point me in that direction. And then like when I get there and I have my food, like everybody's always asking me, oh, what is that? Or, oh, that smells good. Or, oh, what is this new thing? And it's a conversation opener. It's a pull to get people to meetings, because if you say you have food, don't say light hors d'oeuvres, because people are only going to think that you have like the fruit little tray and some water. They want like actual food, because most people are coming from like work. Most people might be coming with their children. Childcare is also helpful, but food is like, oh, I'm not gonna go hungry. Some people might have went hungry even if they went home. So coming here, it's like, oh, I get a free meal if I'm here. And then it's also like every time we have a meeting, people are like, oh, this chicken is good. Where'd they get this one? Like, it's a connector in so many ways. Like, I've had even campfire talks that have been some of the most beneficial talks, and it's just us roasting marshmallows, making s'mores like we're at camp, and just talking about like past experiences, what's been going on. And I just think people take for granted how connecting food can be, even just making it together, which I think is a lost craft. Yes. I think people should start doing that more. Have you gone to the pizza oven that Oasis has?
No, I haven't.
That is a great group activity. We had the kids make their own pizzas, and they were just like, so they tried to make it so nice. They had their toppings. They were trying to get creative, and lighting up the fire was a task. And it was just like, it was a group activity that we all got to celebrate at the end, because we got to taste it. And they were like, oh, who made this pizza? Oh, this one is really good. And it's just like, food can like bring people together in such a happy environment that I think it should be a more beneficial thing to do. I think people should budget more on their food consumption and have it be good food, not just like basic stuff. And then sustainable products. Please don't use plastic. We're trying so hard to break plastic, and when people see non-plastic things at meetings, then they know to get those things too. Because I saw non-plastic pens for the first time at one of our events.
Pencils.
Yeah.
It actually goes away.
It's kind of like
nothing left at the end.
They use like kind of like this cardboard for coffee coasters as the pen cover, and they just have like the pen strip in it, and I think it's recyclable plastic. And then when people grabbed it and had it, they were like, oh, recyclable pens. I didn't know that was a thing. So now you're like, oh, I could be recyclable with this because they have recyclable, reusable versions of this. So, yes.
That's true. Leading by example is really important. And
it's necessary.
Don't say you're going to have light hors d'oeuvres and don't have light hors d'oeuvres. Actually have food at meetings.
Do potlucks. Have your staff
potlucks are fun.
Make a potluck. Be like, this staff member does this staff member gets this. Even if they buy it from somewhere else, it helps a lot with capacity if you have people bring the stuff in. And if it's like a group meeting, it's even funner to be like, hey, you bring a dessert, you bring a hors d'oeuvre, and it's connecting too, because people are like, what is this? And I don't know if you had Kadir's Three Sisters asada casserole.
I can't remember. I've eaten a whole bunch of stuff there. Yeah.
Oh, Kadir made this. So the Three
his wife
Sisters
cooks. Yeah.
Oh, that casserole that he makes is so good. Every time
but you know what? I did have that out at his farm when there were. It was some event. Yeah.
And then then he explains what Three Sisters is, and then you learn something.
Yeah. Oh, it's lovely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for talking with me, and I really appreciate your time. And I'm so glad to know you, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you. Oh, I don't know what I'm going to be doing next. Hopefully not burnt out and stressed out, but still trying to save the world.
We're looking for your channel.
Yes.
Looking for you to, maybe you should start a TikTok.
Maybe I should.
Yeah?
Yeah, I might try that.
More pressure.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get on that. All right. Thanks, NaTisha.
You.
Bye.
Bye.
Everyone knows that food is cool. No secret. Eat that food with a bowl and spoon. Everyone knows that food is cool. No secret. Eat that food with a bowl and spoon.
With Bowl and Spoon is written, produced, and hosted by me, Shelly Danko Day. Copy editing by Carolyn Ristow. Details reviewed. Original theme song was written and performed by Paul Labrise and Friends. You can listen to With Bowl and Spoon anywhere you get your podcasts. Follow us and send us questions or messages on Facebook and Instagram or on our website, withbowlandspoon.com. Thanks for listening.